Well, greetings there, gang. How are you? Welcome to the 30 once again. I am your host, Patrick. Of course, the 30. This is where we do big things, right? This is where we get talk about some topics that appeal to you, the viewers and the listeners. This is where we invite guests to come in and share their stories. And this is no other day. This is a great day. This my guest I met about a year and a half ago, and she is truly an entrepreneur on the move. She's doing great things. We had a chat about a year and a half ago, and I'm happy to catch up with her again. If you would like to see, if you're watching this live, I want to thank you for being here. If you are catching it in replay, of course, thank you for also being here and being part of the 30. The 30 is where we provide valuable information to you, our viewers and listeners. And the goal is basically to help you to enhance your personal, professional, spiritual, and business lives. That's the reason why we have been doing this going on 3 years. On May 25th, mark your calendar, May 25th is when we will have our celebration, where we'll celebrate 150 episodes and 3 years of the 30. Can you believe it? 150 of having pure fun. So I'm excited about it. We want to make sure that you are here. We're going to have some giveaways. We're going to give away some Jackman Group swag, something like this. Let me put it right here so you can see. We also have some additional things, some surprises that I can't tell you about, but you want to make sure that you are here. Make sure that you are sharing this content. Make sure that you like and share this broadcast. If you're watching us from YouTube, make sure that you subscribe to our channel. It is at the Jackman Group LLC. So make sure that you do that. We want to have a lot of fun on that day. And our guest just sent me a message here saying that she's also going to give away something. So make sure that on May 25th that you are here and you don't miss it. Well, I'm going to bring our guest in and I'm going to have her introduce herself to you. And the topic today, we're going to be covering entrepreneurial lessons learned. So if you are an entrepreneur, if you want to be, if you think that's where you are heading, there are specific lessons that we all have gone through. And my guest is Shannon. Shannon, welcome to the 30. How are you?
Hi, thanks for having me, Patrick. Hi, everybody. Nice to see you all out there. I see you commenting. Keep the comments coming. It's nice to see you all. I see Erica, Stephanie.
Yeah, so let me bring them in here while before you do that. Erica says hello, Patrick. Shout out to you, Erica in South Carolina. My wife Stephanie shout back at Erica, and let's see who else is here. Um, Yay, 150th episode. Yes,
That's
indeed.
big.
Yes,
Congrats.
indeed. Thank you. So Shannon, tell our viewers who you are and what you do.
Well, I am Shannon Malkin Daniels, as you said, and I actually do a few different things. I guess, what you could call a serial entrepreneur. I got the bug and I just kept going. So I'm a public speaking, communication, and confidence coach, and I've been doing that for over 8 years. And I've taught at universities like Columbia University, and I own a college, and I work a lot with executives and teams on their public speaking and communication needs. And then out of that grew a technology for presentations and events called encaptiv, which helps with audience engagement and conversion for both in-person and virtual events, as well as the hybrid events. We bring those audiences together. And then I also speak a lot, obviously, because I do coach speaking. I've been a TEDx speaker and coach TEDx's, and I'm an author.
Wow. So you are busy.
Yes. Yes.
So your bio says all those things are above, right? Tech entrepreneur, community. I love this one. Communications nerd,
I love communication.
next speaker, and not only an author, but a best-selling author. Um, and we're going to talk about that part later on. But tell us about your journey. How did you get involved in your serial entrepreneurship?
Well, I was working my 9 to 5 job, and I had started in corporate at a very young age. I started at 19 years old at Merrill Lynch and just kept climbing that ladder. And so I was an executive in my late 20s and early 30s, and way up the ladder, nice high titles, running big teams, managing multi-million dollar budgets, making six figures. And the higher I climbed, the more and more unhappy I became, and the more unhealthy I became. And I really knew something had to give. And so I had an opportunity actually with my last position that I was in to take a severance package because there was a merger happening, and I was invited to stay on board or leave. And I decided, you know what? It's time. And that's what my TEDx ended up being about, following your heart, being about community and investing in your community. And I found that I was just so invested in work all the time that I had really lost touch with my purpose and my community. And so I decided to just take that leap of faith and go for it. And that's what led me into it.
And how long ago has that been, Shannon?
Uh, that's been nearly 10 years now. I remember because my husband proposed, and a few months later, while we were in the midst of planning our wedding, I said, honey, I think I'm going to quit my job. And thankfully, he believed in me and supported me. And here we are nearly 10 years later.
Wow, it's funny how we share a very similar story in terms of uh, downsizing and leaving and getting a nice package and then starting married and then starting a business right after that. So you
Yep.
got 10 years in, I got 12 years in. So
All right.
so between us, let's talk about some of the lessons that you've learned. So what are some of the lessons? So let's start with someone that want to become, desire to become an entrepreneur. Let's
Mhm.
start there.
Yeah, so have a plan in place, right? Don't just leap. I say I took the leap, but I had a plan in place before I just left my job and left my income and all of that. I had always wanted to teach at the college level. It had always been a dream of mine, and I wanted to be an author. And so I had to put a plan in place. I applied for jobs. I got a job teaching, and that's where it really started and gave me the foundation. And since that was part-time, it gave me the flexibility to start building my business and finishing my book and getting it published. And so you want to have a plan in place. And then you have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable, because you go from that regular 9 to 5 job, a steady paycheck, that security, you having your health benefits, all of those things available to you, to being completely on your own. So you have to be really okay with being uncomfortable and pushing past your comfort zone and facing your fears and really doing things that you never thought you'd do before. And as a business owner, you learn a lot. So be prepared to learn. You have to be able to be a sponge and just kind of soak it all up. And so those would be the first two things I'd say: is get comfortable being uncomfortable and facing your fears, and then, have a plan in place. Don't just leap without looking.
So you're saying that if I decide to become an entrepreneur tomorrow, I'm not
Mhm.
going to become wealthy the next day. That I have to go through some stuff.
No, there's a saying, I don't know where I heard this, but it's absolutely true. It takes 10 years to become an overnight success. Likewise, it takes time to build your business. You have to build a network. You have to have those connections. You have to build a client base. Depending on what you're doing, you always have to have customers, right? And so it takes time, it takes effort, and you've got to learn to sacrifice. It is a lot of sacrifice if you want to be an entrepreneur. So Patrick, how about you? What would be your key things there?
You hit it right on the head. It's just you have to be well. I tell my young entrepreneurs, and not in age, but just starting off. I ask them this one question: where is your level of faith? right?
Yep.
That's the main thing, because as you were saying just now, you're gonna have to, you will go through some things, and if you don't believe, if you don't have a faith walk, you can be tripped up.
Yep. Yeah, it's not for the faint of heart. And Martin Luther King Jr. said, "Faith is taking the first step even when you can't see the whole staircase," right? And that's a lot of what entrepreneurship is. You're kind of stumbling through the dark a lot of times, and you've got to have faith in God and yourself, in your team, that you can and you will do this, and you are going to hit a roadblock after road. I mean, I have been there. I have done that. Roadblocks beyond measure, and you just have to continue to have faith, and you have to believe in what you're doing, right? You have to have purpose in what you're doing, because if you don't believe in what you're doing, you're not going to go anywhere with it. You have to really love it and believe in it.
Awesome, awesome. So you hit on a great point there. So faith and a belief in God. That's my rock, right? That's where I get my strength from. I don't know about yourself and others. They may have different things, but for me, for you, that is where everything comes from. So let's talk about some of the specific experiences that you've had. And then what did you learn from that experience?
Yeah, so there's been oh my gosh, which ones to start with? I'll share one that was a really big one in the business for encaptiv, which is the technology business. We had spent a couple of years in R&D building out the technology. We did our market research for nearly a year. We found out what customers wanted and needed. We built an MVP. We put that MVP to the test. Then we built it out further and did our beta testing, and we were just getting ready to release the technology to the market. And now we had built this as a presentation and events platform for in-person events, because the goal was really to solve the problem of a lack of audience engagement, and then being able to measure that engagement. So we were solving that problem, but also, you have your audience sitting there with you and they're listening and they get excited, and you have a call to action at the end, like buy my book or sign up or book a meeting with me. And then you say that call to action, they can't complete it, and they walk out the door and life happens. So we wanted to give an opportunity to convert them when they're at their highest motivation to be converted. And we had built out the software, tested it. We were seeing amazing results in our beta. We booked a 15,000 person conference at the Javits Center in New York in April of 2020 to be our launch. And so we had spent 2.5 years at that point in time building this software to launch. And of course, COVID happened, and we had built this amazing thing for in person. And so we had to stop, pivot, look at what we were doing, and say, how do we support the virtual market now? And now we have a vast product offering where we support virtual, hybrid, and in-person events. So
Wow.
you have to be able to take those big hits and not just give up. You have to think creatively about solutions.
So I think that's a lesson there, is that you are going to go through some things, right? That's a given.
Yep.
But the key is not to give up,
Nope.
because your success could be right around the corner. And if you quit, you'll never know.
Yep. And there's that belief in that faith, right? You have to have it in yourself and a higher power. Like you said, maybe that's not God for you. Maybe that's something else spiritually, but there's got to be that faith and that belief, because that's what's going to keep you putting one foot in front of the other each and every day.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's see who we have here. Monica says, so proud today that you were once my boss.
Oh, hi, Monica. So good to see you here. Oh, my goodness. Hi. Oh, I love this. Hi, Monica.
Shout out to Monica. Thanks for joining, Monica. There we go. So you left a lasting imprint on Monica.
She left a lasting imprint on me. I remember her so fondly. Oh, my goodness.
That's great. Alfreda says, good evening, everyone. Shout out to Alfreda. Thank you for joining. Erica again says, hello. Hey, Shannon.
Hi, Erica.
Good. So there are some lessons that you've learned. what would you tell? So we're talking about the beginner. So
Mhm.
let's say someone is 5 years in, 6 years in. What is a lesson that you've learned that you can tell our viewers or listeners as you progress? You're no longer at the beginning part of it, just starting out, but you moved on.
Yeah. I'd say it's really depends on the type of business you're starting, right? My consulting business is at a very different trajectory than the technology business. There are different timelines, different types of funding, different types of strategies. There's a lot of differences in them. But what I will say is the same is that those obstacles are never going to go away. You're always going to have to deal with obstacles, overcome barriers, make pivots, no matter what. And then you also are going to have to continually be learning. So one of the things that I've learned is never stop learning, never stop growing, because if you do, then you stagnate and you fall behind. And that's when your business starts to stagnate and fall behind as well. So never stop learning, never stop growing, never stop pushing yourself and, moving on to that next level.
Great lesson. Great lesson.
Yeah.
Because most people think, okay, I got my business going, I'm making some money, I know it all.
You never know it all.
You never know it all. So you should always be trying to learn more. How
Yep.
can I get more information? Shannon, one of the things that I've been trying to tell our viewers or those that we train, the importance of having a coach, understanding that there's a difference between training, right, which deals with more skill, and having a coach coaching.
Yep.
Talk to me about that and talk to our viewers about that, about the importance of having not a mentor, but a coach.
Yep. And I've actually had various coaches throughout my entrepreneurial journey. I've had different business coaches and things that I've worked with, and I've learned a lot from each and every one of them. And the nice thing about a coach is that they really push you and they challenge you, and it's a little more hands-on and a little more personalized than just going to a training course. Now, training courses are very important too. Obviously, you need that training, you need that continual learning, and you need that continual development. But a coach is really going to help to hold you accountable and personalize things to you and challenge you to think differently about things than maybe you currently are. And I've actually found too that having really good mentors and advisors, as well as accountability partners, is a great investment as well. So coaches are a little different in that you're making a monetary investment, but you can also have accountability partners and mentors and things like that, advisors that will help to challenge you also. But that coach is so important for challenging you to think outside of the box and get outside of your comfort zone. There's been so many times where I was like, I'm going to do it this way. And they're like, but why? Right? Have you thought about it this way? Have you thought about it that way? And they're really going to push you to think differently.
Yeah, some people say, wow, so do I have to spend money to get a coach? And I try to tell them it's not about spending money, it's investing, because when you invest, there's a return.
Yep.
As opposed to spending, you spend, it's gone. But
Yep.
it's the mindset of individuals where they don't look at the value of a coach and investing in themselves and their business.
Yeah, it's exactly what you said. It's investing in yourself, it's investing in your business, it's investing in growth in both of those things, right? And it can be scary because there's been times where I've been really, really lean numerous times in the business. And, there'll be times where you're losing money, there'll be times where you're making money. And when you're losing money, it's really scary to make investments and things like that. But it also can really help. So you got to think about that return on investment that you're going to get from it.
Good. Let's pivot now and talk about there's something on your left, which is on my right behind you. You are also a best-selling author. So let's talk about that. What is the name of the book? And then how did you get involved in writing the book and the reason behind it?
Yeah, so this is not This has actually been sold in 10 countries. This is my book, Water Yourself, a practical guide to weed out the bad, get more good, and live your dreams. And it's really about investing in yourself and making time for yourself and putting yourself first so that we can weed out all of that stuff in our lives that's really strangling us and keeping us from growing. Now, this is not one that's hit the bestseller. I was a contributing author to a bestseller book that did hit bestseller status, but this has been read in 10 countries around the world. And I'm excited to say that actually today, I'm announcing it right now on this show for the first time. Today is the release of the second edition of this book. So it is a second edition that's expanded now, and I'm really excited about that. But yes, this is really about making time for and caring for yourself. And people are like, well, what does this have to do with entrepreneurship? Well, first of all, I wrote this when I was still working at my job, and I left my job to finish this book and get it published and get it out into the world because I realized as I was writing it, I was not taking my own advice. So that's another reason I left my career and decided to become an entrepreneur, because I needed to take my own advice. But this is really important for entrepreneurs because so many times as entrepreneurs, we work, and it's all about building the business. And it just becomes, I hear people bragging about, I'm working around the clock, I haven't slept. And if you don't take care of yourself, if you don't put that oxygen mask on yourself first, you're going to be no good to anybody else, and your business is not going to be successful because you're not thinking clearly about what you're doing. So really taking care of yourself and that self-care piece is so important.
And that working around the clock, that badge of honor, getting 2 hours sleep, I fell into that for a long time, right? But that's more of a Western philosophy,
Yes.
as opposed to other countries where we pride ourselves on working and not sleeping. And
Yes.
other countries around the world, they pride themselves on more self-care.
Yep. Yep. Think of it this way. You can't pour from an empty cup, right? And I've been there too. I've been there where I'm sleeping 2 hours and getting up and going again because there's releases that have to get out and all of that. And there will be times of that in entrepreneurship, but it can't become your all day, every day, just around the clock way of life. You really do have to take care of yourself, because if you're sick or you're tired or you're not thinking clearly, nothing's going to work.
So Shannon, give us the name again, and how can someone get a copy of it?
Yeah, it's called Water Yourself, a practical guide to weed out the bad, get more good, and live your dreams. And it's on Amazon. It's also available. It's available internationally on Amazon, but it's also available if you were to go to a local bookstore and they don't actually have it on the shelf, they can order it for you as well.
Wow, congratulations. That is fantastic. Alfreda says, congratulations on your book. Cool.
Thank you, Alfreda.
Good. So what is next for Shannon in her entrepreneurial journey? What's next?
Yeah, right now the focus is on continuing to build my businesses, right? And coaching people, working with people a lot on their public speaking and communication skills. It's something that really drives me and really excites me. And then we're doing some interesting things with encaptiv right now that I'm really excited about. So I'm going to continue working on those things. And the big thing right now is the release of the book. And a little sneak peek, we are planning a retreat called the Water Yourself Retreat that is going to be about self-care and it's going to be a few days. We're going to have a nice getaway and learning and spa and camaraderie and sisterhood building. It's targeted toward women. So that's really what I'm focused on right now.
Now I'm getting a little upset because my guest last week talked about her brand was geared towards women. Now you're talking about refreshing towards women. What is going on here? The guys need some love too.
Men are 100% invited. We just tend to find that women gravitate towards these things more. So men are 100% invited to attend if you would love to be there.
Don't worry, guys. I am going to do something for us as men. You hold on. Something.
We can do a women's retreat and a men's retreat.
I like that. So we need to talk about that, Shannon. That's a great idea. See, entrepreneurial minds thinking again.
This is where collaboration comes in. That's a big recommendation too, is make sure you find collaboration partners, because if you try to go it alone, it's a very lonely road. And then when you collaborate with people, it's the old adage, all boats rise with the tide, right? And so help each other out, find ways to collaborate. And even if you're not collaborating, find ways to help other people.
Great. Shannon, a last question, and then we're going to go into rapid fire. What
Okay.
would you tell a 20-year-old Shannon? What advice would you give her with everything that you know now?
Do this sooner. Don't
Hmm.
wait. I always felt like I was in a box in corporate and never really understood why. And I know it's because I'm a very creative thinker. I'm a very solutions driven person and I like to innovate. And I really wish I would have taken the leap sooner to become an entrepreneur.
Wow. Okay. Well, thank you. I
Yeah, thank
appreciate that. So let's go into rapid fire as we wrap up the show. This is where I ask you 4 or 5 questions, and I
Okay.
asked you, and the goal of this is really to personalize. You have some fun, let people know that hey, that Shannon is just not all about taking care of business, but she also has fun. So, first question: what is your favorite food?
Pizza. Pizza, pizza, pizza.
Oh boy. Okay. What is your favorite place to vacation?
Hawaii. And I actually have family on Hawaii, so it's even better because when I go over there, it's spending time with family and enjoying a beautiful place.
I got to give you this right here. There you go. That's also my favorite place. So favorite musical artists.
Oh gosh. I will say favorite genre is reggae,
Okay.
and I really love J Bug, which is Hawaiian reggae.
Shannon, we are, yeah, we're kindred.
Sending them back.
Exactly. That's great. All right. Last book that you've read, I know probably yours, but outside of yours.
I read a lot of fiction. I'm actually reading. I last year I read about 60 books. I read about a book a week, so it's really hard to keep up with all the titles. I've been reading a series that is a law series that follows a lawyer in San Francisco who's a criminal defense lawyer.
So hold on. You read a book a week.
On average, yes.
How do you do that?
Making me time. This is what makes me feel good. I get up in the morning, I go to the gym, I work out, I get in the sauna for 30 minutes, I read in the sauna, and then I go to bed about an hour before I actually want to go to sleep, and I read until I fall asleep.
And how many pages are these books? Like 15 pages, 20 pages?
No, they're generally around 300 to 400 pages.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
I love reading.
Oh, oh, wow. Kudos to you, Shannon. Shannon, any last words for our viewers and listeners as we end?
Follow your purpose and your passion and stay connected with your community. Your community is everything. And it's not about all about climbing that corporate ladder and all the accolades and the titles and the money. If you really, really want to be happy, follow your dreams, align your passion and your purpose with your career, and you're gonna move up Maslow's hierarchy there of needs and be closer to self-actualization and true happiness and fulfillment.
All right, great. Thank you so very much, Shannon. I truly enjoyed our conversation, and I hope our
Same
viewers and
here.
listeners did the same. And it's great reconnecting with you after a year and a half of our original conversation. So thank you so
Yeah.
very much. Let's
Thanks for
collaborate
having
about
me.
this retreat, male and female. Let's talk about that as we move
Yes,
forward.
sounds
So
great.
so one more time, how can someone get a hold of your book?
On Amazon. So if you go to Amazon and look for Water Yourself by Shannon Malkin Daniels, you'll find it. And if you want to get in touch with me, it's Shannon at speaksuccess.com. That's speak with a C, SPEAC, success.com.
All right, Shannon, thank you so very much. And we will drop that information. Also, we'll drop that link uh, and the broadcast and I want to thank you for being here. Don't be a stranger. Feel free to come back. Okay.
Likewise.
All right. Thanks,
Thanks so
Shannon.
much for having me. Thanks everybody for tuning in.
Bye bye now. So we've been talking to Shannon. She is an awesome person, as you can see. She's doing great things, and make sure that you grab her book, Shannon Malkin Daniels. Make sure you grab her book. Go to any bookstore, and make sure you pick that up. I look forward to connecting with her, and maybe we can do something together. As she said, men and women retreat. I like that. I like that. Well, that's about it for now. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being one of our valued guests and listeners. So stay tuned. Join us next week where we'll have someone else coming into the 30. And make sure you mark your calendar for May 25th. And by the way, Shannon also said she's going to give us one book to give away on the show. That's our 150th 3-year anniversary. So make sure you mark your calendar for May 25th. We are going to have a grand time. Until next week, may God bless you and your family. Be safe. We'll see you then. Bye-bye for now.